Good afternoon to you, Thulasizwe, and to our viewers at home. Remember, earlier we spoke to Semnik, a Persian, someone from Iran, who told us that actually they are happy as residents of Iran because the USA and the Israel, they are fighting the regime in that area. They are sending a message to the President of the United States, Donald Trump, saying that they are thankful for what is happening because at the end of the day, they will have to go back home so that they will find peace and harmony. But let me introduce to Craig Pantanowitz. Craig is the national chairman of the South African Zionist Federation. Thank you very much. As I have mentioned in my introduction, we spoke to someone who comes from Iran. She's telling us something different from what we thought of. We thought of maybe residents are distraught, they are not comfortable with what is happening. But she is telling us that no, they are actually fine with what is happening. They are happy. They are sending a message to Benjamin Netanyahu and the president of the US and on what is happening. They are saying that they are tired of the regime that is actually ruling in that particular country. Thank you very much for your time. We know it's such a short notice, but we thank you for a prompt response. Now, let's talk about your response and your reaction on what is happening in Iran.
So thank you very much, Calvin, and to all the viewers, very good afternoon. So our response and our position is we are supportive of what Israel and the United States are doing currently. We feel that the Iranian people on whole are very supportive of the offensive in Iran to try and overthrow the Iranian regime. Calvin, this is a very complicated scenario, but one where I think that the goals of the United States and Israel and most of the Western world is to see a few things. One, a non-nuclear Iran. So we cannot have an Iran that has nuclear weapons. They're a very dangerous regime. Number two, I think that the goals of this are to ensure that the Iranian people are freed. This is a regime that has been holding the Iranian people, 90 million people, under oppression for 47 years. The Iranian people are crying for democracy. They are crying for freedom. And as your earlier interview suggested, that many, many Iranians globally and inside Iran are celebrating today as perhaps this is the first step towards their liberation. And I think we need to stand with absolute moral clarity at a time during war. War is very difficult. And we want to say that we support President Trump, we support Israel in their attempts to, one, stop a nuclear Iran. Number two, hopefully stop Iran from supplying terror across the Middle East. You know, Iran are a state sponsor of Hezbollah, of the Houthis in Yemen, of Hamas, and hopefully with this, the Iranian regime will turn. We will get new leadership in Iran, free the people of Iran from this horrendous oppression that they have been under, as I say, for decades. In the last 3 months, since the 28th of December, conservative estimates, Calvin, are that up to 40,000 Iranian people have been massacred by their own government for standing up and asking for freedom, asking for democracy. And no leader in the world should be turning their backs on that. This is not a country at war. This is a country at war with their own people, and we cannot support that.
Off the record, you told me that there might be other countries who might intervene in this.
Calvin, yes. I mean, I think that there's a good chance now that other countries become involved. If I look at what's taken place since the war started yesterday morning, Iran have attacked 6 countries across the Middle East, including Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Kuwait has been attacked. I just read now that even a British Air Force base in Cyprus was attacked with 2 drones. And there have been major attacks. Dubai has been hit, the Burj Al Arab, the Burj Khalifa, a hotel in Dubai has been hit. These are all civilian areas targeted by the Iranian regime. They don't care whether they're firing on military installations or civilian installations. And I think that, you know, as you say, these countries that have been attacked may well retaliate. And they would retaliate on the side of Israel, the United States, and the West, because their countries are currently, their sovereignty is being attacked, and they may well respond and join in the offensive to try and topple this Iranian regime.
Are you saying that residents, civilians, are not affected by this?
No, I'm saying the exact opposite. Residents and civilians are the most affected by this. Many of the targeted areas across the Middle East have been fully civilian areas. Hotels have been hit, airports have been hit, residential buildings have been hit. The Iranian regime do not care where their missiles fly. They fire into the middle of residential areas in Tel Aviv, across Israel, and across the broader Middle East. So no, the Iranian regime are very happy to attack civilians.
Craig, how long might this take?
Calvin, that's a very difficult question to answer. You know, war's a very complicated thing. We would hope and pray that this would be a quick and swift war, that civilian casualties are limited to the absolute bare minimum. Some of the military experts that I've been following and listening to say between 7 and 14 days they would hope. But I think in war, Calvin, there's no guarantees. And we can only pray that the civilians that are caught up in this in all of the Middle Eastern countries, including the civilians in Iran who are desperately trying to break free and get their democratic rights and freedoms back from this Iranian regime. We pray that those civilians are safe and that they are not targeted at all.
Now, before I close, let's talk about the role of Israel. They are assisting the U.S. in order to, according to what you say, to free the people of Iran.
Yes.
Any message that you got from Israel about this?
Calvin, no, I think that's a very important question. And I think, you know, Israel have been at the very forefront of Iranian terror for a number of decades. The October the 7th attacks that happened in Israel 2 years ago were fully sponsored by Iran. Hamas, the Houthis, Hezbollah, which have all fired indiscriminately on Israel. Hamas came across the Israeli border on the 7th of October and massacred thousands. People were taken hostage, including women and children. For over 800 days, they were held in Gaza. This is all sponsored by the Iranian regime. And I think Israel has a moral obligation to protect its people. Iran, as we speak now, are currently firing indiscriminately ballistic missiles, drones, directly into civilian centers across Israel. And Israel has a response to look after their people. They have a response to the Western world to keep it safe from tyranny. And that's exactly what Israel are doing right now.
I know you are in South Africa. I know you are not in Israel. In all fairness, I just want to wrap with this question. Do you think what Israel and the U.S. wants to achieve is achievable, and they will be able to fulfill their mission?
Calvin, I pray so. I pray that the Iranian people are freed through this intervention. War is risky. There are lots of unintended consequences. I'm very glad that I'm not the person that has to make the decision to go to war. But we support Israel, we support the United States, and we pray for quick resolution. We hope the Iranian regime lays down their arms, surrenders, and allows freedom and democracy to come across Iran and hopefully put an end to all this bloodshed and terror that is plaguing the Middle East currently.
When I arrived here, I saw you were watching a foreign media station. Foreign leaders have responded. They have reacted on what is happening. Do you think their reaction is satisfying?
Calvin, I think that most of the Western world support what America and Israel are doing. There are obviously players in the international space that are supporters of Iran and supporters of the mullah and the regime that has been terrorizing its people. I would hope that the Western world stand together very firmly against this terrorist, absolutely impossible regime that have been killing and maiming people for decades. What we have seen out of Britain, what we have seen out of France is that there is support for America and Israel, and one would hope that that would continue as this war intensifies over the next few days.
Your short, brief message to Iranians during this difficult time?
We're praying for the civilians in Iran. My short message to them is to stay strong, to stay close to media when they have access to media, because the Iranian regime has collapsed all internet access. There are no cell phone networks working across Iran. But in short, my message to them is to stay strong. And when you get the opportunity, stand up. Now is the time for your freedom. Now is the time to take over Iran and bring it back to a beautiful democratic state that it once was. And hopefully they can join the free world in creating an environment of peace going forward.
I saw when I arrived, you were watching CNN. It will be your time now, Craig, to tune into SABC News channel 404. That was Craig Pantanowitz, Thula Sizwe, National Chairman of the South African Zionist Federation, Thula Sizwe. He is reacting on what is taking place in Iran, saying that government of Israel, including the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, they are making sure that people of Iran, Thula Sizwe, are freed. Thousands of people have died and others got injured. Remember, earlier we spoke to Sam Nick, who is an Iranian, a Persian, to say, she told us that actually people of Iran are rejoicing of what is happening, especially those who are outside that country, because they are trying by government, USA and Israel, they are trying by all means to free people of that country. Thula Sizwe, back to you in studio.